It feels as though most of the guidebook level content we come across when it pertains to Tarkov always seems to be a piece of the puzzle. A snippet here, a piece there, but never really an option to draw a complete or near to complete picture. And for those folks just starting out, like walking into a massive library for the very first time, the scope of what there is to learn and the materials available to study from can seem overwhelming. In this series of videos, I'm aspiring to put together the intricacies of Tarkov into simplified tips, tactics, and strategies that are easy to implement and understand. In this episode, we explore the psyche of the greenest among us, the first-time raider. Hi, my name is Onepeg MG. Welcome to episode 2 of my Tarkov For Dummies series, The First Raid.
I've never killed anybody that hard in my whole life. Get deleted from the map, kid.
Before we get into the guide topic itself, I first want to lay out a scenario. Let's follow a first-time PMC around through his first raid. We'll call him Cheeky. Cheeky has no map, no HUD, no compass in the corner, no vector to move by. He has no idea where the heck he is. He hears someone shouting in the distance in Russian. Gunfire crashes through the solemnity of the sunny day, piercing through the sound of the gentle breeze in his ears. Possibly even a grenade exploding in the distance, but he has no idea how far away. 50 feet? 500? His audible depth perception has no reference point. Cheeky walks through the map, sprinting as much as he can to make himself a harder target should someone spot him. Completely unaware of whether or not he's heading in the right direction, he comes across another person. He has no idea whether it's another player or not. He aims down his pistol. Cheeky, you did only bring a pistol, right? He fires while AD spam strafing back and forth to avoid the potential for return fire hitting him, and an AI-controlled scav snaps both of Cheeky's legs in half like twigs, so he bends over and kisses his own ass goodbye as that AI-controlled scav leans in and whispers, "Opechki," right before darkening his day. Welcome to Tarkov. Cheeky just completed his first raid in the worst way possible, and he hasn't even met another human player yet. Sound familiar? The point is, we've all done exactly this, over and over and over again. And slowly we would learn as we went along. I find that the best way that we can possibly learn is looking at the things that went wrong and learning from them. So, what went wrong in this scenario? The list in this case is shorter in terms of what was done right. He thought ahead and only brought a cheap pistol. You did only bring a cheap pistol, right, Cheeky? In this aforementioned scenario, the reasons why things went as badly as they did is because our PMC broke the cardinal rule of Tarkov. They treated Tarkov like other shooting games. So, with this, we're going to start a little rule set. Onepeg's rules for surviving your first raids. Has a nice little simple ring to it, doesn't it? Rule number 1. Always remember, Tarkov is not other shooting games. It's harder. When Cheeky loaded in, he had no clue in terms of where he was on the map. Had Cheeky loaded in several times, he'd start noticing that he spawns in a different place on the map every single time. Sometimes, those spawn locations are completely opposite from where he was the raid before. But this wasn't even the first mistake. The first mistake in this scenario was not being adequately prepared for a firefight. Whether you win or lose, whether you live or die, The likelihood you're going to be shot at least once in every single raid is very, very, very high. And while it has yet to be officially confirmed by the development staff, it appears that AI-controlled scavs tend to shoot people in the stomach and legs disproportionately more than shooting someone in any other area of the body. For an in-depth look at this information, I suggest checking out the video by Veritas Games, where he goes in-depth into testing whether or not scavs shoot the legs more often than not. TLDR, at the moment, they do. Check the link in the description if this is something that you'd like more information on. If you like detail, it's a very, very, very good video. So why does this matter? Well, this means that the legs are likely to be the first target hit, which means they're the most likely to be blackened out, which means you have a very, very strong chance of limping. Without painkillers, that means you're limping for the rest of the raid, unless you get lucky and find some. But that means killing for them and getting lucky, or being able to walk to a med bag and getting lucky. And with a game that's designed to basically make you feel like you are completely unlucky, that does not bode well. As a brand new player, you have limited access to medications, but you still have items that you can use to heal yourself. You want to make sure that you bring at least one AI2 medkit, otherwise known as cheese, and at least one bandage with you. Eventually, you graduate to bringing along a painkiller or two once you have access. But don't use any of the starting morphines. You're going to need them later for tasks. Put those medications in your container or pouch. Because they persist through death, and because medications are expensive, you want to make sure that you hold on to them. If you're shot, just hit the tab key to open up your in-game inventory. Right-click on the medication or bandage and select Use. You can also click and drag that medkit or bandage to the affected area on your body and heal it that way. You cannot hotkey any items that aren't in a rig or on your belt. But again, medical items in the early game can feel pretty expensive and aren't worth the risk of loss when you're brand new. So, rule number 2, always bring something for healing, something for bleeding, and something for limping. Now, as the game progresses, there are medkits that handle the healing and the bleeding at the same time, which will take up less inventory space overall. But, as a new player for now, you need at least one space for a cheese, one space for a bandage, and one space for your painkiller. If you're somebody that's just starting out and you only have an alpha container because you got the standard edition, this means that 3 of the 4 spaces of your alpha container are going to be designated for meds. The next most important aspect of the game is understanding where you are in relation to the area you're in, i.e., orientation. If you have a second monitor, pull up a player-made map of the area you're in. If you don't have a second monitor, use your cell phone or tablet screen. If you have neither, print them. Once you have a map, identify landmarks on the map versus landmarks around you. Even in the most remote of locations, you should be able to relatively identify where you are in about 30 seconds or less if you study any one of these references. Once you know where you are, then figure out where you're going. Most community-generated maps have every scav and player spawn location, although these do change from time to time, as well as all of the player and scav extraction points. You'll see your available and potentially available extraction points in the upper right corner of the screen. If you need to view them again, double-tap the O key to bring them back up. In this list, points listed with question marks are potentially available and may either be open or closed depending on RNG, or in some cases like paid vehicle extraction options that are one time per raid use, whether someone has used that extraction already or not. Optional extraction points are usually lit up with either green smoke flares, a lit campfire, or a shining spotlight showing that they're open. If they are not lit, traditionally this means that the point is closed and can't be used, and you must try to extract elsewhere. Extraction points that don't have question marks are guaranteed extractions and are open every single raid. Players like Cheeky should learn where these extractions are and how to get to them. Rule number 3. Until you have a firm grasp on the map you're playing, use a reference map made by the community to both orient yourself and know where your extraction points are located, what they look like, and how to use them. So as I started editing this, I realized that it was going to be considerably longer than I originally thought. So I decided that I'm going to break this thing up into 2 parts. Part 2 will be in the next couple of days. And hey, please keep in the forefront of your mind that this stuff takes an awful lot of time and effort to produce. I'm probably 30 hours in just on this half of this video. So do me the solid, if you would not mind, come say hi on Twitch. Give this thing a follow and a subscription to the channel if you haven't done it already. And please share this with the community at large. The feedback matters and the metrics absolutely matter. Episode 2, Part 2, 2 days. We'll see you soon.